Hello, welcome to today's slow flow vinyasa class focusing on a healthy spine. If we haven't met yet, I am Jill, this is Fiona, this is Charlie, and we're so happy that you decided to join us for today's 30-minute class. Make sure you have a mat or a towel and some space around your mat to lift up off to the sides and back. A block can be very helpful for creating some space in some of our postures, but it's definitely not necessary. So if you don't have a block, don't worry, we will be able to do the class without a block. And as I mentioned, it's an all levels class, so I will be offering a lot of ways for you to customize this practice to make it your own, either to take it back a notch if that's what you need, or to intensify a bit if that's what you're looking for today. Go ahead and gather your equipment, and if you like to play music during your classes, go ahead and get your music started, and then meet me back on the mat. We're going to meet in a child's pose, so at the back of your mat, bring your big toes to touch, walk your knees to the wide edges of your mat, sit your hips back onto your heels, and walk your fingertips forward. Bring your forehead and maybe the tip of your nose down to the mat, and take these first few moments here to allow your body to land on your mat, to allow your mind to land in your body, and then allow your mind to rest on your breath. Allowing your inhales to create some space in your body, and allow your exhales to soften you. On your next inhale, walk your hands over to the left side of your mat. Fiona, you gotta move, sweetie. And maybe bring your right hand to rest on top of your left. And maybe press that right hand into the left hand, creating some extra space in your lat muscles, the intercostal muscles, and creating some extra length from your right hip to your right shoulder. On your next inhale, go ahead and walk your fingertips back through center. And as you exhale, walk them over to the left, maintaining that connection between your left heel and your left hip. And if you can do so without shrugging, bring your left palm to rest on the top of your right hand. Maybe give a press into that left palm. And think about drawing that next breath from your left fingertips all the way down to the left hip. Lengthening as you inhale, and then softening your hips back with your exhale. Bring your next inhale all the way into the back of your ribs, behind your heart. Expand your entire chest. And then exhale, walk your hands back through center. On an inhale, go ahead and come up to a neutral tabletop pose, and we're going to flow into some cat-cows here, creating some spinal flexion and extension. Inhale, cow pose, lift your gaze, lift your tail, and exhale, cat, tuck round and curl as you press the mat away from you. Inhale, cow pose, pull your palms back to really draw your chest forward. Lift your gaze. And exhale, cat. Belly button towards spine. Maybe you gaze back towards your belly button as you press those palms into the mat to create space in the upper back. Let's flow that 2 more times. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Thinking about starting the movement with your tailbone. Inhale, tailbone lifts. And exhale, cat pose. Come back to that neutral spine. Extend your left leg long. Straight back out of that left hip. Squeeze that left glute. And then go ahead and tuck those left toes to the mat. And just begin to gently shift yourself forward and back. Inhaling as you come forward and exhaling as the heel comes closer to the mat. Slow and steady breath. Not forcing the movement. And then come back to neutral. Lift that left leg again, heel in line with the glute. And then set those left toes over to the right side of your mat, gazing back over your right shoulder towards the inside of your left foot. And as you do so, we're creating length along the left side body, and we're shortening the distance between the ribs and the hip on the right side body. Go ahead and lift that left foot, and we're going to bring it all the way over to the left and plant the sole of the left foot on the mat. Keep your right hand planted and inhale, peel open. Oops, nope, that's not right. Keep your left hand planted and inhale, peel open to a simple twist with your right hand. And then exhale, thread the right hand over towards the left toes as you sit back on into your heel. Reaching the left hand forward or tucking that left hand at your right hip crease as you spiral the right ribs underneath you and you spiral the left ribs towards the right side of your mat. Go ahead and bring that left palm back to the mat. Reach back up with those right fingertips and come up like a T with your upper body. Lengthen from your waist up and out of your hips with your inhale. And as you exhale, walk those left fingertips down the left leg. Right hand reaches up towards the ceiling. You can spiral that right thumb up towards the ceiling, right pinky down towards the mat. And maybe begin to bring that right ear, or the right bicep rather, closer to the right ear. Come back up through center, brace your core, arms out like a T, and then exhale, modified side plank. The right palm is going to come down to the right. Press the hips forward, lengthen the tailbone down, and then reach the left fingertips over towards the right. Go ahead and bring the left palm back down to the mat. Right palm to the mat, come into that neutral tabletop. You could wag side to side, take a cat-cow if that feels good. And then extend the right leg straight back out of the right hip, squeezing the glute, pressing through the heel. And then gently set those right toes down on the mat and flow here, shifting forward and back. Keeping your neck in line with the rest of your spine, gazing towards the front of the mat, maybe a little bit beyond. And then come back to center. We're going to take that right foot up and over to the left, pressing into the toes, the ball mound of the foot, and pressing the inner right heel up towards the top left corner of your mat. Gaze back for the foot. Snuggle the shoulders down and back in their sockets. And then big move here. We're going to bring that right foot up and over all the way to the right. I'm actually going to turn to face you for this. So the right foot is out to the right. Plant the right hand, peel the left fingertips up towards the ceiling. And on an exhale, thread the left arm underneath the right, reaching in the direction of the right toes. Now the right arm can come directly out in front of the right shoulder, or you can hook the right fingertips at your left hip crease, spiraling open, and thinking about drawing the low belly in, back and up as you twist from the belly button. Bring the right palm back to the mat. Press the right palm into the mat, and then come up with your arms out like a T. Walk the right fingertips down the right leg. Lengthen your waist up and out of your hips as you reach those fingertips, left fingertips, up towards the ceiling. And then if it feels good, you can deepen the stretch by spiraling the thumb up towards the ceiling, pinky down towards the mat, and reaching the left hand over towards the right. Inhale, back up like a T. Modified side plank. Left palm finds a block or the mat underneath the left shoulder. Press into the pinky edge of the right foot and imagine lengthening all the way from the right fingertips to that pinky edge of the right foot. And then slowly come down. Back into that neutral tabletop pose. Palms underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And go ahead and walk your left foot back, right foot back, and we'll come into our first high plank pose of our practice here today. Hugging the muscles of the arms around the bone, pressing the palms into the mat, opening up the space between your shoulder blades, and then looping those shoulder blades down and back away from your ears. Give the muscles in your legs a hug to the bone. Squeeze your buns. Take an inhale, and exhale. Use your core to lift up and back, downward facing dog. Take a nice deep bend in your knees, bringing your belly to rest on your thighs. And notice the length you just created from the crown of your head to the tip of your tailbone. Keeping that length, that's our main focus here. Begin to straighten into your legs, but only as far as you can keep the length. So if you force your heels down to the mat and you notice that your low back starts to curve under, bend the knees and keep the length. Let's think of this as our home base for our practice today, a spot where we can come back to our breath. And speaking of breath, checking in, making sure that it's slow and steady, that the inhales are filling up our body, creating length and space, and that we're softening as the exhale breath leaves the body. Go ahead and gaze forward and tippy toe or big step, whatever feels right to you, into a forward fold. Decompressing the spine here as we allow the crown of the head to hang heavy down towards the mat. On an inhale breath, we're going to rise up to standing. Tuck your tailbone under, hug your buns, and slowly stack your spine one vertebrae at a time. Go ahead and bring your palms to your side, pinkies in, thumbs out, and inhale, tall mountain, Urdhva Hastasana. Root down through the soles of your feet and lift everything else away from the mat. On an exhale, we're going to come into an open arm twist to the right, so slight bend in the knees. Right hand draws back, left hand lengthens forward. Inhale, back to tall mountain, maybe the palms touch. And exhale, gentle twist to the left. Knees bent. Inhale, tall mountain. And exhale, forward fold. Hinge at your hips, lengthen your chest forward, tailbone back. Belly melts to the thighs. Plant your left hand on the mat or on a block. Take a generous bend in the left knee, straighten the right, and peel open, gentle twist, right fingertips reach towards the ceiling. Exhale, switch it out. Right palm to the knee, or to the mat, or to the block. Right knee bends. Left leg working in the direction of straight, left fingertips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms, step back, high plank, top of a push-up. Inhale, shift forward, and exhale, slowly lower. 5. Hug the elbows into the side. 4, stay nice and strong in your legs. 3, whole front body arrives on the mat at the same time. 2, 1, untuck your toes and come up into Sphinx pose. Palms and forearms parallel. Press your palms, your pinky, or your finger pads into the mat And then isometrically pull your palms, your forearms, and your elbows back. This really fires up the upper body. It's a nice isometric strengthening posture here. And also as you draw those hands, forearms, and elbows back, we press our chest forward. Gaze is forward. Give your buns a hug. Stay nice and active in the lower body. And then slowly lower. Palms underneath the shoulders from your knees or toes. On an exhale breath, press up to a high plank and downward facing dog. Any movement here that feels good to you. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, look to your thumbs. And as you exhale, you're going to slowly tiptoe your feet behind your hands or take a big step. Forward fold. And inhale, slowly root down through your feet and begin to roll your way up to stand. Now your feet can be touching or they can be hip width distance apart. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, tall mountain. Those palms might touch. Exhale, open arm twist to the left. Knees bend, both hip points face forward. Inhale, tall mountain. And exhale, open arm twist to the right. Inhale, tall mountain. Really lengthen from the tip of your tailbone to the crown of your head. And exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Right palm comes to the mat or a block. Right knee bends. Left arm peels open into that revolved forward fold. Exhale, left palm or fingertips to the mat or to the block. Left knee bends, right leg straightens, fingertips peel up towards the ceiling. Snuggle that right shoulder blade down and back into its socket. And then palms to the mat. Step back to your high plank. And then once again, for a slow count of 5, we're going to bring our entire front body to the mat at once. Keep the quadriceps squeezed, glutes squeezed. Untuck the toes and inhale up to that Sphinx pose. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Squeeze your buns. Scoop your low belly in and up to protect your low back. And then really think about that isometric pull in the upper body. Slowly lower. Palms underneath the shoulders, tuck your toes, press up to your high plank, and downward facing dog. We're going to take 4 breath cycles here, focusing on creating space in terms of length from the tip of the fingers to the tailbone by bending the knees. And then softening into the posture as you exhale and work those legs towards straight. Moving on to our Sun B. Root your left foot into the mat and inhale, 3-legged dog. Right leg lifts to hip height. Pressing through that heel like you're pressing someone's hand or a wall away from you. Lifting from the inseam of your pants. On an exhale, tuck around and curl. Draw that knee in towards your chest, creating that cat shape in the upper body. And then step the right foot to the right thumb. Surrender the left knee. Left toes can be tucked or untucked. Peel open into a gentle twist. So as we create length from our left palm to our right fingertips, we're simultaneously creating length from the tip of our tailbone to the crown of the head. Press the sole of the right foot into the mat and isometrically pull it back towards your left knee as you simultaneously hug that left knee towards the right foot without actually moving. Just firing up the inner thighs for a solid foundation here. Inhale, come up to a gentle twist. Both hip points face forward. Woo! If you wobble side to side, that's okay. Bring the left or the right palm to the back of the left leg, exalted warrior, and reach the left fingertips up towards the ceiling. Square your hips and your shoulders forward. Windmill the palms to the mat. Step the right foot back to meet the left in a high plank. And once again, for a slow count of 5, we're going to hug the elbows into the side body. They brush against the ribs and slowly lower to the mat. Inhale, cobra pose. Press the tops of the feet into the mat. Squeeze your buns. Pull your low belly back in and up. And then pull your palms back towards your hips as your chest, your heart space lengthens forward. Slowly lower, tuck your toes, press up to high plank, and back to downward facing dog. Remember, this is our home base. Reconnecting to your breath, making sure that your inhales and your exhales match. Or maybe your exhale is slightly longer than your inhale. Ground your right foot, inhale, lift the left leg, 3-legged dog. Toes turn in towards the midline of the body. Nice flat back. And then exhale, arch and round as you draw the knee in towards the chest and step the left foot to the left thumb. Surrender the right knee down, and the right palm is either on a block or on the mat. Peel open, gentle twist. So create that solid foundation, scissor the inner thighs. Lengthen from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And then on an inhale breath, rise, open arm twist. Lengthening your waist up and out of your hips with your inhale. And then exhale. Left palm to the back of the right leg. Hips and shoulders squared to the front of the mat. Right fingertips reach up towards the ceiling and think about creating length in the side body as you do that. Windmill the palms down to the mat. You don't even need to stop. And step back, high plank, top of a push-up. If chaturanga is in your practice and you'd like to take chaturanga, inhale, shift forward. Exhale, elbows bend 90 degrees. Hug them into the side body. Hover, flip to the tops of the feet. Pull the palms back. Chest lengthens forward. And exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to flow that sequence one more time with an option to make it a little bit more intense. Ground the left foot, inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, right knee to nose, tiger pose. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, step the right foot to the right thumb. Your left palm is going to come to a block or to the mat. And with that left knee lifted, we're going to peel up into that simple twist. Inhale, pull the breath back behind the heart and into the back ribs. Exhale, soften the right hip, lift the left hip. On your next inhale, come up, revolved crescent lunge, scissoring of the thighs, stacking the shoulders over the hips. And then inhale, exalted warrior. I'm shaking, are you? All right, now try to steady yourself. Hug the muscles in both legs to the bone. Lift the left hip up and forward, right hip back. And then windmill the palms to the mat. And you're going to either lower to your belly for a cobra, or you're going to come into that chaturanga yogi push-up, hovering, pulling the elbows back towards the heels, flip to the tops of the feet, inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take 3 rounds of breath here. Let that breath be loud. Drop your shoulders down into their sockets. Open the upper back. Ground the right foot. Inhale, left leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose. Tiger pose. Press the mat away. Inhale, three-legged dog. And exhale, step left foot to left thumb. Right palm is going to find a block or the mat. Drop the right shoulder down away from the ear. Reach the left fingertips up towards the ceiling. And as you do so, notice if your right outer hip dropped down to the mat. If it did, hug the quad, squeeze the quad, lift the right hip up in line with the left. Scissor the inner thighs, use your core, come up, open arm twist. Think about pulling that left thumb back, lengthening the right fingertips forward. Left palm finds the back of the right leg, exalted warrior. So the palm faces back behind you. Gaze up towards those fingertips and breathe. Windmill palms to the mat. Step back to our final high plank, and you can take a vinyasa or travel directly to downward facing dog. Whatever's right for you in your body today. Go ahead and walk yourself through. Legs extend out in front of you, and we're going to come into half Lord of the Fish pose here. So bending that right knee, bringing the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Extend your left arm out like you're going to shake someone's hand, and then hug the left elbow around the right knee. Right fingertips reach up towards the ceiling, and then come into a twist, either with your fingertips on the mat or your palm on the mat. But remember, we're not wrenching our back. If we bring our palm to the mat and our breath starts to get short and choppy, that's just our body telling us, hey, back out of it a little bit. Nothing good ever comes from force, whether in fitness or on our mat or in real life, right? The more we try to force things, the more pushback we get. Gently unwind, extend the right leg, hug the left knee in, right arm out like you're going to shake someone's hand, give that knee a hug, left fingertips up towards the ceiling, and then fingertips to the mat, thinking about broadening through the chest or the palm to the mat. So back to that, if you've ever heard the term hold on loosely, right? Like, it makes a lot of sense. If you think about sand, for example, like you scoop up some sand in your hand, the harder you try to hold on to that sand, the quicker it all just spills out of your hand. But there's a little art of holding on to a handful, cupping that sand in your hand and keeping it there. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, try it sometime. All right, go ahead and come back through center. And with your knees bent or your legs straight, we're going to use our core strength to slowly roll back onto our back. Hug both knees into your chest. Give a little rock side to side, a little massage for your low back. Hug the right knee in. Extend the left leg long. And then come into a gentle twist, guiding that right big toe over towards the mat, the floor on the left side. And again, not wrenching, so not forcing the knee down. Your gaze is either going to be up at the ceiling or out towards your right hand. Low belly draws in, thinking about lengthening from the hip to the right shoulder with your inhale. And as you exhale, melting the backs of the shoulders onto the mat just a bit more. Inhale, come to center, hug both knees in, rock side to side. Exhale, extend the right leg long, hug the left knee in. And then gently guide the left big toe over towards the mat. Another option here is to bring your block on its highest height underneath your knee and let it support your knee. If you're feeling pinching in your low back, just come back onto your back and hug your knees into your chest. So gazes up or out towards the left fingertips. And as you breathe here, thinking about how differently you feel from when you first came into child's pose at the start of our practice. Hopefully your body feels like it has more space. Hopefully your mind feels like it has more space. Because when we slow the breath down and we link the breath to movement, slowly come back to center, hug the knees in, wrap yourself into a tight, tiny little ball. Gratitude for yourself here for taking this time to connect your mind to your body, to slow the mind, to disconnect from electronics and technology is a gift. Slowly come into Savasana, extending your legs long, arms long down by your side, truly allowing yourself to be heavy here, to take up space and just to be. Ideally, you'd want to spend 2 to 5 minutes or longer in your Shavasana. Just breathing with a natural rhythm of breath. Staying tuned into what is going on inside of you and not around you. Because life is constantly going on around us. It's when we can allow that to happen, just to let it be, and focus on our breath, creating